It's the stage where tradition, excellence, and style come together in perfect harmony. Everyone certainly brings their best. Have you ever wondered what conversations take place under these umbrellas, the stories they could tell? The shared smiles, the spirited conversations, the laughter in the air that carries between the roars of the crowds. Under the umbrellas, the world simply slows down. We remember why this place, this tournament, is about so much more. Well, Emilia, we are here under the umbrellas, and today our umbrella has moved to Champions Retreat, which is perfect because it's the first few days of the Augusta National Women's Amateur. And who better to talk about the tournament than a 5-time participant, a runner-up, and now you're going to be covering it from the media side and telling us all about the magic of the Augusta National Women's Amateur.
Oh, it's so great to be here, Kira, on site and under the umbrella. So happy to be here on site at Champions Retreat.
What was it like showing up to the grounds today and not necessarily in a player role, but now covering the tournament?
It was much more relaxing. not coming in and feeling like, okay, I gotta prepare for Champions Retreat. It's such a hard golf course, which can sometimes be overlooked because the players and everyone else are getting so excited for Saturday, but it's really just such a neat golf course. You have to play really well. There's also so many mental challenges because the top 30 in ties are pretty challenging, like to be able to make the cut. So it was nice to come here and not necessarily think about playing. Of course, there are times where I miss it as a competitor. I'm, of course, just happy to be here and wanting to play, but I'm really looking forward to the week, and it's already been a great start.
Yeah, and those top 30 in ties, they get to go on and play a competitive round at Augusta National, where the winner of the Augusta National Women's Amateur will be crowned, and we'll get to all of that because you've had so many great moments at Augusta National itself. But what you do now is so inspired by your incredible golf career, growing up your entire life and playing college golf, being a national champion with Wake Forest, then transitioning all of that into a media career. I think so many people assume that when you play that level of golf, you then have to go on to become a professional golfer, which you have chosen not to do. Take us back to that moment of deciding, you know what, I'm gonna find this different path in golf.
It's actually funny because I first told my coach, Coach Kim Llewellyn, during a tournament in the middle of a round that I didn't want to play professional golf.
So is that how you were feeling at the time?
I wasn't playing well, if you could probably guess.
I'm done with this.
and she was like, okay, let's finish this round first.
Coach got it, yeah.
We need your score right here, and then we can talk this through. But so that was my senior year of college. Up until then, I saw my life very linearly. I was going to play good junior golf, or I had played good junior golf. I had played good college golf, and then I was going to go on to play good professional golf. And I'd played in professional tournaments, played in 2 U.S. Opens at the time, and what's now the Chevron. It was the ANA Inspiration, and then 2 Epson Tour events. And I just didn't feel, it felt like there was something missing. And it was so interesting because when I made that decision, and then my first work trip that wasn't golf, I was writing for the Golf Channel website for the U.S. Women's Open at Olympic Club. And I walked into the media center and I immediately told myself I'm where I want, where I
remember
need to
seeing
be.
you there.
Yeah. And I knew everyone there because so many of them had covered me from Wake Forest and my amateur career. And it was just, I think, the team environment that I loved so much from college golf and amateur golf that I wanted to continue with graduating, and that maybe the professional golf route wouldn't necessarily allow, as you know, covering the tour as well. It's just, it's very individual, it's very singular. You have to be so focused on your own performance. And there was definitely, you teeter between your identity and your out and your golf score can be very close together. Even for a recreational player, it's hard. So to have it as your career, exactly. So I feel like I've struck a perfect balance. I'll always miss the game and being able to play at a regular level, like just every day. I always love to practice and to compete, but to be able to have a life that's more versatile and holistic, it was definitely one that I'm so happy I made that decision.
Yeah, and you're still playing tons of golf. You travel with your golf clubs. You're playing in a bunch of amateur events and still keeping that part of your life. So I know it just brings you so much joy.
Yes.
Speaking of something that brought you so much joy, the Augusta National Women's Amateur. Let's go back to the first time you ever heard about this tournament, about this opportunity. Do you remember what went through your mind when you learned about this?
Yeah, I feel like it was maybe some rumors, some talk at first that there was going to be a women's tournament that was going to be held at Augusta National. And it was amazing because it was such a quick turnaround from when we were hearing about it in 2018 to then 2019, the inaugural event, which is just credit to Mr. Chairman Fred Ridley and everyone else to be able to put the tournament on with such a quick turnaround after having this idea. And it was so neat because growing up, myself and a lot of my friends who are golfers, we grew up always saying, oh, whenever the ladies masters exists, that's what we want to win one day. And well, now we have our own version of that with the Augusta National Women's Amateur. That first year I will always cherish. It was so overwhelming in the best way. It's kind of like your wedding day, which at the time I had not experienced a wedding day, but now I kind of know, like,
it blows it away. Like, my wedding was great, but
the first time of no. Wedding obviously tops everything, but it was just so magical. We got treated like movie stars. There was all the details.
The gifts that you were telling me about, the gifts that you were finding in your room every day.
Yeah, the first gift we got in we got a big gift bag, like in tournament registration. We got our hair and makeup done for photo headshots, which was just like so cool. I'd never gotten to experience that. And then one evening we got back and there was like a Tiffany bracelet on our bed, and I was just like, I was like, what is happening?
You have that like forever.
Like, so it's all these memories, and I still have, like, I wear, like, regularly all the accessories that I get.
As you should.
So it's so special, and I feel so grateful to, when the tournament was announced, it was really fun because I would already had a high ranking at the time, so it wasn't.
What were you ranked at your first?
So the top 30, it was the top 30 Americans. So I think I was inside the top 30 Americans at the time. So I felt excited that, like, I'm hopefully going to get an invite. It wasn't necessarily, oh, this is something that I can shoot for maybe 2 years time. I was like, this is something I can shoot for, like, in a year.
Yeah.
And so I felt like that was super exciting, knowing I had a chance of getting to play in the first one.
What was it like getting your invite for the first time when you got to physically hold it?
Well, I had no idea what to expect, and so, of course, Augusta National is going to blow it out of the park with the golden
calligraphy.
the calligraphy, the wax seal with the Augusta National Women's Amateur logo. It was so beautiful, and to have 5 of them, I have a few displayed in our little apartment, and then others.
You need to have them framed.
I know. I really do. It's so special. It never gets old to receive something like that. Like, there are things that you get used to when you've done them multiple times, and it's not that for the Augusta National Women's Amateur. It always feels like it's your first time here.
So in 2019, it was this overwhelming experience. You got to learn so much about not only the golf course, but about yourself, about your game. Then the following time that you got to compete was at 2021, and this is the year that you end up in a playoff with Tsubasa Kajitani. Take us back to that moment when you found out you were going to be in the playoff.
It was funny because I got interviewed after the round, which was the most magical round of my life. I felt like I didn't need to think on the golf course, and I was just hitting good shots, which is like the best case scenario for your first time playing a competitive round at Augusta National. And so people had asked me, oh, how does it feel to be the clubhouse leader? And I was like, oh, well, I'm like 4 back. Like, I'm not going to win the tournament.
You never know.
I know, you never know. And I was literally giving, and so this is the time where that same year I decided to not play professional golf. I thought this was going to be one of my last competitive tournaments. I didn't know what golf was going to look like at that point.
Yeah.
Was also struggling in my game, so I wasn't playing my best at the time. So it was one of those classic experience where you hear players going into a tournament with no expectations. It really just means you're not putting extra pressure on yourself to perform, which kind of loosens you up and you end up just playing with a little bit more freedom. So I waited about an hour and a half. During that time, I was giving my yardage book away to my coach saying, hey, this is like, these were all the hole locations, like, you know.
You're already thinking about next year.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about like the Wake players next year, let alone, I didn't even think I would be playing in it. I was, and so then about an hour later, now my husband, but my boyfriend at the time, Charlie, he's like running up and down, well, not running because you can't run in Augusta,
no.
but quickly walking up and down
With
the
purpose.
holes with purpose and saying, oh my gosh, like people are making bogeys, doubles, like this is insane. Like he's sort of freaking out that I'm getting closer to the top. And when I was playing, so I finished 1 over on the day, or like total for the tournament. I thought I needed to get to even to get into the playoff, but then ended up getting into the playoff. And it was such a great learning moment because I kind of played that 18th hole in a little bit of a daze. I was in between clubs on my second shot, hit it out to the right, and then hit it into the bunker. I ended up making bogey and losing. But it was a great experience, and to never count yourself out of the tournament. But even though I lost in the playoff, I've never look back on that tournament, that week, and think, oh man, I didn't get it done. Because I had been struggling in my game that entire semester, and then I just had this magical experience, magical round at Augusta, and then all of a sudden I have a chance to win. And so it was just kind of an added bonus after added bonus. I didn't end up winning the tournament, but to be able to get really close to it, it was really special.
And people dream of just having the opportunity to win, and you have had that so many times now, and that's something that no one can ever take from you, that you've completely earned and made your own and put your stamp on. You know, so many people think about the Augusta National Women's Amateur, and you always come to mind, and that's just something that speaks to who you are and what you've been able to achieve with this. So this show is called Under the Umbrellas. As you know, we have a lovely umbrella.
Yes, we do.
So I want to hear about some of the umbrella moments that you got to have competing at the Augusta National Women's Amateur, because there's a very special event that all of the participants get to have under the umbrellas on site at Augusta National.
Yeah, well, there's always the chairman's dinner before the tournament starts. So that was my first ever under the umbrella experience. The cocktail hour is under the umbrellas, and
Which we love.
It was so beautiful. And I had never been to Augusta National before the Augusta National Women's Amateur, so it was my first time, and a lot of players' first time just getting to see the property. So I'd only ever seen it on TV with all the patrons, and you don't get to see the entire layout of the course. So to be able to go out and see 1 and 18 green and 10 tee, just the entire 9 green, like the entire space, it was just so open, majestic. It was just, it was the coolest moment. Like it's even better than what you think it's gonna be. And then the dinner is just so special. Mr. Ridley speaks, and as well as some of the other members, and just really reminds us how special the event is and how deserving we are to be there, and also gives just history about what it took to get this event here. And by the end of the evening, it makes you just feel really proud for what you've been able to accomplish to get here, because oftentimes when you're striving for more as an athlete, you can almost cross a finish line and forget you've crossed the finish line. You can kind of just keep running and keep trying to strive. And so it's such a great moment for all the players to get to stand under the umbrellas or sit under the umbrellas and just get to reflect on being at Augusta National, which is just crazy to say.
How did you pick your outfit?
Whew, that's kind of that's a difficult
That's
one.
another episode.
I know, it is honestly another episode. I feel like I was more and more strategic, like I got better with my outfits every year. I don't know, like it's kind of a stress. It's such a stressful thing. You're like asking all your teammates and like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? But it was always some form of a dress. I love a good dress. But yeah, I'll have to go back and obviously I never wore the same thing twice. So it was a different outfit, and for five different times. So
5 different times, 5 different Instagram posts.
Yeah, exactly.
Will live forever.
They will.
What's your favorite Masters moment from when you were a kid, dreaming about potentially getting to come to Augusta National, or potentially dreaming about a career in golf?
Yeah. I remember watching the Masters just every year in class. My first, a vivid memory that I have of the Masters is when Bubba Watson won in 2012, and he hit his shot from the woods.
Yeah.
He hits it into the woods. I'm like, oh, he's lost the playoff. Like, as a kid, I just didn't conceptualize the fact that, like, great things can happen out of nowhere, like what you don't expect. To see him hit that shot to like 10 feet and make it was like really cool for me to see that someone can, you know, defy odds and just be able to close out something like that. And I remember the celebration from Adam Scott when he won.
There it is, Adam Scott.
That was just so cool. The passion that people show when they win at Augusta is just, you just don't see it anywhere else because there's so much history and tradition. I actually, coming here, I watched some highlights of Jack Nicklaus winning in '86 because everyone talks about it, but I wasn't here to get to witness it live.
Neither was I.
And it was so cool.
Get up, get up, get up. To 18.
With his son Jackie on the bag, and to see him eagle 16 almost, or 15, almost hole out on 16. It was really cool. So I want to kind of go back and do that more, just like watch some of these iconic victories. But yeah, the Masters has always held a special place in my heart.
And you can think about like, oh, this is the place where this putt was made from,
Yeah,
or this is the punch-out shot, or
exactly.
this was the iconic thing that I remember so much as a kid because of all the experiences that you now have had on Augusta National. And when you think about all the times that you've played, of course, it's a difficult course that only gets easier with experience. So in all of your time getting to build up that experience, what's something that you learned when you were out there that ended up being something that became such a great strength of yours in the 5 years that you competed?
Yeah, I feel like I learned just how important your iron shots are, because if you hit a really good shot, it will catch the funnel and you'll have a ton of birdie opportunities. It's when so in 2021, I did that and I played really well. And then the other years where I made the cut, kind of spray your irons a little bit. You're like, I've never had this kind of chip shot. This is going to be really interesting. And so it was, you definitely just learn like how difficult it is around the greens. And so then to watch the Masters and to see these guys pull off some of these shots where you know it's nearly impossible, it's really cool to have kind of that firsthand experience. I feel like the first thing we all did the first time we got to play Augusta, which everyone gets to do in the practice round, which is really nice, is throw a ball on 13 and actually see how much above the feet your ball is on 13, because everyone on TV, you can't see how steep it is and how hard it is to hit that green in 2, which is really cool because then Jennifer Kupcho ended up doing that at the inaugural Augusta National Women's Amateur and hitting a great shot onto the green. I hit my shot in the water in the practice round. And then I think she also did. And then later she was like, hey, here's your ball. I found it in the water.
Thanks, Jen.
And so it was kind of a funny moment. But yeah, it's fun to get to see the shots on TV and know that, oh, I've hit that shot and it worked out well, or my shot, I hit it horrible from there.
So Jennifer Kupcho and Maria Fassi that year provided such iconic moments that we think about to this day. This year we have another opportunity to create iconic moments. You're going to be covering the golf tournament. Who are you following? Who do you have your eye on? What are you most excited about in this edition of the Augusta National Women's Amateur?
Well, no one's ever defended their title, so definitely excited.
Lottie Woe,
yeah,
could it be?
Exactly. Exciting to see, which is also really cool because Mirabelle, her teammate, is actually kind of on a hot streak. She's won maybe 5 or 6 tournaments, like in her last, she's won almost every event she's played in this year and this season, so she's playing really well. So there could be kind of a Florida State showdown. I'm really good friends with some of the Stanford players here, and of course my former teammates at Wake Forest. So I definitely hope that they play well.
Mm-hmm. And one last thing, of course, the Masters tournament and Augusta National Women's Amateur is all about tradition, and you got to experience that tradition alongside your mom and on the bag for you. Tell us a little bit about what that was like, getting to share that with her.
That was the coolest moment ever, to get to see her on the first tee. The first tee is so special. To hear 4 please, Emilia now driving.
4 please, Emilia Miliacho now driving.
I mean, that phrase,
It gives me chills.
It gives me chills every time I think about it. And to have her standing there in the white jumpsuit was so special. And to get to, she's done that for me twice now. And for us to get to have that walk together, I was able to make the cut in 2023 when my husband caddied for me, and so he got to experience that. We have this beautiful photo of us on the 13th hole. It's really cool, and I really wanted that for us, because I said, well, you know, if I play well, I'm gonna, if I hit good shots, I'm gonna play well. You know, if I'm not playing well, an Augusta caddy would probably be really helpful, but I just really want to experience this moment with my family. And so I always look back on the weeks so fondly, because I got to just have someone that's shown me the way of golf, my mom, just all my life, and now my husband, who is so supportive, and when he was watching me play golf, and now in my broadcasting career, for him to get to see that too was really special. So yeah, the memories I will think back forever.
And you get to create new memories this year. On the other side, you'll be covering the Augusta National Women's Amateur, you'll be covering Drive, Chip, and Putt, you'll be covering the Masters Tournament. You're a busy girl.
Yes,
You're going to be
love
very
it.
busy for the next few weeks, and you took some time to sit with us under the umbrellas. We really appreciate it.
Yes, of course, Kira. Thank you so much.
Thanks.